On this episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored, we're going to have rapid fire questions with Dr. Roddy, which should be pretty interesting. Stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to Plastic Surgery Uncensored. On this episode, we are going to go to you because it's going to be all questions and answers with Dr. Roddy. That would be you. Yes. Dr. Roddy Raban, board certified plastic surgeon. Beverly Hills is where we are right now. Yes. But these questions come from all over.
Yeah, a lot of them are from our Instagram, which we love people. We try to reach out. So I highly encourage you. You think that you're just sending them out into the big bad blue. But the reality is if you send questions, we do these Q&As like we're doing today where we try to address your questions. So listen and see if maybe one of your questions are being answered.
And we love their comments. So let's give them. And what is the Instagram account again?
It's Dr. Roddy Raban. So it's DrRadyRahban. So that's our handle. And
you want to go there right now because the pictures are incredible. It's a whole lot of magic markers and lard. It's pretty. That was uncalled for, Monique. So let's get started, Dr. Raban, with the first set of questions. I'm just going to read them the way they look, and you're going to have to decipher.
Yeah, I'll make heads or tails of it. So read me the first one.
Okay. If one is having a tummy tuck and one's under, you find there is extra underlying issues? That's the question.
Okay, fair enough. So I think what people are talking about, let me read. This is what I take that as. We just had an episode about it. Bottom line is that when you do a tummy tuck, there's a whole bit of discovery that's going to happen. So you anticipate that it's going to be this routine thing, but I found many hernias that were undiagnosed. We've had two people on episodes where I found masses. I found sutures from previous surgeries that I didn't know, et cetera. So the bottom line is if you go to a surgeon who's skilled, when they're doing your tummy tuck or any surgery for that matter, they should be able to handle more or less most things that happen when you're in there and you get suddenly surprised by some change in the plan.
By change, you don't mean like it's like lifting a couch cushion and you find change?
No, not change, that kind of change. Different change.
Beautiful. All right. Costs of whole body lifts to get an idea of how much I would be spending. So evidently,
okay, so
Daisy 970.
Yeah, well, Daisy. So listen, so body lifts is a loose term. So some people referring to mommy makeover, some referring to actual body lift. So a body lift is a specific procedure that you have, which is circumferential. It's a tummy tuck that goes around all the way to the back and all the way to the back like a belt. Mm-hmm. So that body lift can run you on average between $25,000 and $45,000 based on where you are in the country, who your doctor is, what type of anesthesia, who's the anesthesiologist, what kind of surgery center. So as I always say, just because you pay more doesn't mean you get more, but I assure you if you pay less, you get less.
So like a $10,000 body lift is just like suspenders.
Suspenders, yeah. Suspicious suspenders.
Okay, excellent. Steps of pre-op and length of healing time, including possible drains, pain meds, and downtimes. Now, they didn't specify the surgery.
Procedure. Okay. So the steps in pre-op. So every surgery you're having done, especially a cosmetic surgery, should be treated like you're having brain surgery. So every surgery requires a pre-op. Now, it depends on your level of medical condition. So if you are a 35-year-old healthy woman who takes vitamins, the preoperative workup is usually laboratories and some basic blood draw. If you are a 52-year-old male who has diabetes controlled, and you have a little bit of high cholesterol, you need the laboratories plus a clearance by your doctor. If you're a 62-year-old woman who had a recent stroke and you're on blood thinners, the answer is you don't have surgery. You see how that works? The degree of workup is contingent on your degree of health. And if you're unhealthy, you shouldn't be having elective surgery. Now, in terms of recovery is generally divided up into kind of phases. There's the first 2 weeks, there's the first 6 weeks, and there's the first 3 months. First 2 weeks, you're just recovering from surgery. First 6 weeks, you can then go back to exercise, and 3 months, you can go back to your life as if you never had any surgery. So that kind of puts it into perspective. If you have drains...
Wide ballpark.
If you have drains for any surgery...
What surgeries have drains?
Tummy tucks, breast surgeries, facelifts, anywhere where fluid will accumulate and you got to remove it. Usually the drains come out at a week to 2 weeks on average. So that's a general, because she didn't say specifically what surgery.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was WC Legal Beagle. Vertical scars and abdominal plasties. I don't know what the question. then she put another one. How to correct or avoid scars.
No, I think it's a different one. I think she wrote two different things. So that's actually an excellent question. So let me tell you what the question was. When you get a tummy tuck, the idea is that you're cutting around the belly button, and then you're pulling all the skin down, and then you're cutting the excess skin, and you're throwing it in the garbage. And then you close it, make a new opening, and a new belly button comes out. Some women don't have that much loose skin, but have enough loose skin where they need the surgery, but not enough loose skin where the little hole of your belly button makes it all the way out of your scar. So what happens is most surgeons just flex the bed, and this requires a visual. So if you don't get it, you can DM us or you can call us or come in and see us, but I'll explain it. So when you go to close as a surgeon and you pull down the skin and you're like, okay, there's no more skin, yet the hole from your previous belly button is on its way down, you have to make a decision. So there are three options as a surgeon. Number one, make the scar from your tummy tuck higher. Therefore, the hole will make it. The problem with that is now you have a really high riding scar. Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Option number two is, oh crap, I can't, flex the bed. So when you're having a tummy tuck, the surgeon will bend the bed, make it flex, so you're bent over. And if you notice when you do it to yourself, as you bend more, you remove more skin. But what happens when you eventually stand up? The skin comes up and your pubic area comes up. Also a terrible answer. The right answer is if you don't have enough skin, all you do is where that circle is, where your old belly button is, you just close that and make it a little vertical or up and down scar, kind of like if you had an appendix or a laparoscope. So if you go look at my results online, you'll see that every 10 patients, there's someone who has a little up and down. That little up and down is what I do in order to keep the scar really low and make the abdomen look really long. Because the only thing that matters when you look at a woman's belly is that she's really tall, her belly is long, and her underwear is way, way down there. If you look at a before and after result.
I never thought of that.
Yes. When you look at a before and after result, and you see the belly button, and the underwear is like an inch away from the belly button, what does that tell you?
That her underwear are too high.
Yeah. Tells you that the scar is too high, and they're hiding the scar that came up. So the vertical scar is the way to avoid shortening the abdomen. That's a great question.
Wow. This one didn't even have a question. She just wrote sunken eyes.
Sunken eyes refers to hollowness around your eyes. It's a super, 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 super common problem affecting men, women, young and old. So there are three things that cause your eyes to get sunken. Number one, dark skin or dark color. The answer, makeup. There is no surgery. There is no laser. There is no nothing. You just cover it up, concealer. You're unfortunately unlucky. Second reason that you have dark circles is you have a little bit of, you have bags, and those bags are puffy and they're pooching out. So the treatment for that would be to go and remove the bags and reposition them through a eyelid surgery. The third and the most common, really, in my opinion, is the hollow, or there's a little, we call it a tear trough.
Yeah, I knew
exactly. A little tear trough. And that tear trough can be filled very easily, albeit incredibly delicately, and you need to know what the hell you're doing.
Judiciously.
But you can fill the trough, hence making the hollowness not so hollow, and that's eyelid filler. And you got to know what you're doing, but that's the answer to that one. So hollowness, you have to first identify what it is, and then make sure you pick the right treatment.
Isla Bay 07 just wrote abdominal etching. I don't even know what that means.
So abdominal etching is this concept. It's called high-def liposuction. First and foremost, I don't do it. The reason I don't do it, as you all know, I don't do things that I don't like the outcomes and I don't feel are good surgery. So I'm not saying don't do it. I don't do it. But what it is that basically you're a guy, or it could be a female, but usually in guys, and you want to look like you have abs and you have a little bit of like an insulation layer of fat. So you go have somebody liposuction you in a way that they're liposuctioning the areas where the abs groove in, so it looks like you have abs. So it's high-def liposuction. In general, not a huge fan. You want abs, you earn them, nevertheless.
All right. Hernia repairs during tummy tuck.
Talk about it all the time. It's super, super common. Some of it you know in advance, like a belly button hernia, you can see it. And some of it you run into it incidentally while you're under. So your surgeon needs to be cautious, and he needs to be skilled so that he can address whatever he tends to find at the time of your surgery.
All right. Belly buttons after tummy tuck. Why do some look really weird? How do you get it to look natural?
Huge pet peeve of mine. I mean, I'm talking, you can do the most amazing tummy tuck and then have a shitty looking belly button and it's useless. That would be like having a Ferrari with hubcaps.
Whoa. That was just ugly.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
if I gave you a Ferrari and it had hubcaps, you'd kind of be like, it's kind of like not really a Ferrari.
Yeah, no.
So the reason that happens, and unfortunately it's not once in a while, I would say if you go online and you're super critical and you look very critically at all the belly buttons, the overwhelming majority of them look weird. Round, alien-like, lumpy, weird, whatever. Several reasons. Number one, it's the last step in the procedure and it's usually done super quickly. Like your surgeon's like, I'm done. I'm over.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Secondly, you look, when you were pregnant and you had all this extra skin in your belly and your belly was out, let's say to here, your belly button was out to here with your belly. So then you have your 2 kids, 3 kids, you lose all the weight. Now you got all this loose skin and your belly's gone back. You have loose skin on your abdomen. Would it surprise you that you have loose belly button skin? So the loose skin of your belly button is often not addressed. You remove the excess skin of your belly, but not the skin of your umbilical button or your belly button. So what you need to do is first thing you need to do is you need to cut the excess off of your belly button. And then the key component to having a pretty belly button is that your surgeon needs to sew down your belly button really snugly to the muscle layer like it was when you were 15 or 16. So when you're 15 and your belly button's an innie and it's tight and it's attached to your abdomen before you stretch it out with pregnancy, when your skin gets drawn into it, it pulls it in and makes it tuckered. So that's the key to having a really attractive belly button. A few key steps, which will make it look natural.
We have a few more questions. Can we take a break and come back?
Sure thing.
All right, good, because these are interesting. A lot of belly button talk, and a pretty belly button's a game changer. All right, please stay tuned to this episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. More questions when we come back. And we're back. Plastic Surgery Uncensored. The rapid fire Q&A is what this episode is all about with Dr. Roddy, and we're getting some good questions here.
First of all, I love that people are writing and asking questions. You always think whenever you write into places that your questions will never be addressed, but here we are. We're going through them, and you can see
people's names,
the names and stuff. So
Ms. Leslie.
Yeah, we highly suggest you keep writing. Go ahead. What's the next question?
All right. This person just wrote neck lift.
So neck lift is an interesting subject because people always talk about neck lift and facelift and they get them all confused. So I'm just going to give you a general 411.
Is there such thing as just a neck lift?
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
So the reality is that people say, I don't need a facelift. I just don't like my neck. Well, the first thing
That's my mom.
The first thing that ages is your neck, and your neck is attached to your face. So when you have excess in your neck and you pull the excess skin upwards, it always pleats in your face, which means that you have to open up the face to take the excess out of your neck. So a facelift, just a facelift, is designed to fix your neck. 90% of a facelift is to fix your jawline, your jowls, and your neck excess. So a facelift, in theory, is a neck lift. But, some people don't like the term facelift, so they like to call it neck lift. In my world, they're more or less one and the same.
Synonymous.
Synonymous.
Okay. So Ms. Leslie wants to know, keloids, they are one of my greatest fears holding me back from getting a tummy tuck.
So keloids is a major concern for patients. First and foremost, I would say 95% of patients who show up in my office telling me they have had keloids do not. So let's start out. A ugly, horrible looking scar does not mean you have a keloid. A keloid is a specific type of scar and you have a predisposition or a genetic tendency. What's a keloid? I went in and pierced my ear and now I have a cauliflower-sized scar in my ear. That's a keloid. A keloid is a scar that grows so excessively it outgrows the area that it was injured.
Oh.
That's super rare. It is common amongst Asians and it's common amongst African Americans. But even within those two subsets, it's super rare. Everybody else who has a shitty looking scar, thick, raised, dark, rubbery, firm, tender, have something called a hypertrophic scar, aka a shitty scar.
Okay.
So the fact that you have a shitty scar doesn't mean that you have a keloid. And the fact that you had a shitty scar doesn't mean you're going to get it again. I cannot tell you the number of times women show up with awful looking C-sections, all like
mangled.
And they're like, I have a predisposition to keloids. And I say, who told you that? Their OB.
The mangler.
The OB. So what happens is you go, you get a baby, you have a C-section, you have a shitty outcome. You go to your OB, you're like, what the hell is this? And he's like, first of all, you should be lucky your baby's alive. That's
Obese can always lead with that.
Where's, he's alive. He doesn't have a nuchal cord. We didn't break his, he didn't get brachial plexus, injury. And secondly says, well, you're just a bad healer. I mean, you make keloids. I mean, what can I do? And then patients are like, well, I guess you're right. And then they come in and want a tummy tuck, but then they're super scared, right? Because they're like, if I get a tummy tuck, now I'm going to have a whole abdomen full of this. 99% of the time, as God is my witness, when we cut out that old scar and we close you correctly, no hypertrophic scar is made. So you don't want to be stuck with this diagnosis and then forever caged in, this is who I am.
Your identity.
More often than not, it's not real.
Wow, I like that. So it's kind of like the Bigfoot of scars.
Yes. We're going to have a section. I think we need to have a segment on scars, myths, and what we do, because that's like $1 billion business.
Scars the whole thing. It's the whole.
So we'll do a segment on it alone.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to hold you to that. Medical insurance and covering the procedures. Any future changes?
No. So everything in the future, expect that whatever little is currently covered by medical insurance, again, what little is covered by medical insurance will become less and less. Healthcare coverage is getting worse by the year, not better. That means that every year your whatever healthcare you have is getting more difficult for them to cover things and call it medically necessary. We just got off the phone with a lady who had twins who had a diastasis you could put your fist through, and no one's covering that. So areas like eyelids, breast reductions, maybe breathing for your nose, those few areas are going to become more and more difficult. So do not hold your breath for your insurance to one day pay for your mommy makeover.
No, just start saving money.
Start saving.
All right. Sophia 0530, is it possible to do a surgery to reduce the size of thighs as part of the mommy makeover?
Thighs, the dreaded thighs. So we can do magic.
Are thighs still hated?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're not talking about like full-figured sexy thighs. We're talking about big, cellulitic, heavy fat thighs. Okay. There are a lot of women and
thunder
men,
thighs.
Yeah, men who present, and that's a problem area for them. So we can do magic with breasts. We can do sorcery with noses.
That's true.
We can do phenomenal things with your abdomen.
I saw some Hogwarts.
We cannot do that much with your thighs.
Really?
Terrible. So you have two tools and only two tools. Liposuction and cutting out. So what are they? You can either suck out the fat or cut out the skin. Those are the only two tools. When you have loose skin, I've lost a lot of weight, I got tons of loose skin, you can do a thigh lift and it works out pretty good.
Okay.
The problem is when you have a lot of fat and you go liposuction the thigh, be ready, guaranteeably, to have cellulitic, ripply skin and all kinds of looseness and irregularities. Thighs do not do well with liposuction. And I would argue, and that if you talk to any of your friends who had thigh liposuction, after a couple of years, they're unhappy.
Can I just, cellulitic is one of the worst words I've ever heard.
Cellulitic.
That's like demonic. Like you should just say
cellulitic.
Demonic cellulitic results.
So don't bother.
No. Lip lifts, and why do they swell so extremely
So lip lift is like one of those, lip lift is in the category of Brazilian butt lifts and a few other things. It's super popular, super trendy. So what is it? It was originally a procedure you did in women and men who had aged, and part of their aging, loose skin in their neck, eyelid excess, brows, whatever, they had long lips. Their upper lip got longer
like the
and longer.
denture covering lips, yeah.
So what you did in part of the facial rejuvenation was you did a lip lift. You would cut under the nose and you would take out a segment of skin under the nose. And what you would do is you would shorten the distance between your lip and your nose. That would make it tighter, and your lip would be lifted. The exchange was that there's a visible scar, albeit it can be made really small, but there's a scar right under your nose.
So does your lip go down like a shade as you get older?
Correct. Now,
that's so sad.
Now, when you do it in the right patients, it's great because, let's say you're a 73-year-old woman and your lips are long and whatever. What's being done now, it's being done in 22-year-olds because 22-year-olds want that pouty duck lip and they're like, I'm over the lip fillers. So now they're getting lip lifts at the age of like literally 22 with almost perfectly normal lips. So what this woman is referring to is, of course, when you do that, you're going to have some bizarre changes to your lip, especially when you don't have a lot of redundancy. That's like you getting a tummy tuck when you don't have a lot of skin. it's going to look weird and behave weird.
So there's no such thing as a preemptive lip lift.
No, you have to have the extra skin in your belly to get a tummy. That's like a 33-year-old woman walking into my office saying, hey, Dr. Vaughn, I'm here for a tummy tuck. Oh my God, how many kids have you had? No kids.
Just planning.
I'm just planning. I'm anticipating. I'm going to have kids next year, so I figured, what the hell, I'll just get rid of the skin now. You don't have anything to remove. So when a 22-year-old is getting a lip lift and her skin to her lip distance is short, of course she's going to look weird.
That's not a good look.
Not a good look.
Okay. May for 10 Aroche scars for a full lift. What kind of scars?
I think she's referring a full breast lift.
Okay.
And generally breast lifts, when you get a lift, you need to have an incision from which you remove the excess. So lifts have 3 types. We have donut lifts, lollipop lifts, and anchor lifts.
The crown and
so
anchor.
As the names indicate, a donut lift is a lift in which the scar is around the areola. A lollipop is around the areola and down. And a anchor is around the areola, down the breast, and in the crease. So a full lift, I'm assuming, is referring to the anchor. And that tends to be the most common. Now, it sounds frightening and quite horrific for a young lady to undergo that. However, if you have very sagging breasts and the incisions are closed well, the result should be outstanding.
Okay. Very nice. No particular questions. She just wrote, creating facial balance?
Facial balance is just, listen, at the end of the day, that's just a general concept. Every surgeon has their own vision. So my number one recommendation is you should, when you decide, I want to go to this doctor, you better go online and look at like 150 of their photos. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like their work, you're not going to like what they think looks pretty on you. So facial balance is one of those really general terms, right? Oh, that looks so balanced.
Just look at their catalog,
Right.
See the symmetry. After surgery care, drainage, and massage techniques to prevent a seroma. I don't even know what that is.
So we already talked about aftercare, but seroma basically is fluid accumulation. I'm assuming they're referring to after liposuction. So a lot of people go and do what's called lymphatic massage. So you had liposuction, you have all the swelling in there, and then you go to people who are so-called experts, and they move the swelling out. I'm a mixed bag on that. I mean, I don't think it really hurts. I think there's a lot of money being made. I don't really know how much it does help. Maybe in certain people, it's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't, I think these things that are extraneous tend to be a little gimmicky. So you can do lymphatic massage or massaging after liposuction, but I wouldn't spend millions of dollars on it.
No, it's like curb feelers. It's just extra aftermarket.
It's extra, yeah.
Yeah, it could make your car look kind of not cool. All right. Looking for more Ari was the subject.
So what is
line
this?
here.
This is our this is another review or
So
comment.
evidently that's his handle.
Okay, so this is a comment.
That's
I like
very
that.
cute. Before listening to this podcast, I had some knowledge about plastic surgery. I myself got a breast augmentation, BBL, and rhinoplasty. I know that's Brazilian butt lift now because I asked you. I wished I would have listened to this podcast so I could have made an educated, safe, she added, safe decisions. If you want to get a cosmetic procedure, please listen to this podcast to educate yourself about plastic surgery and the risk.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's a
Let me see
great
this.
comment, and I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Because she's spreading the word, and that is very much.
That's really interesting because it goes to show you, as we always say, if you're driving down the street and all of a sudden you drop into a pothole, the question is, after you've changed your tire, what do you
and
do?
cursed a lot.
Do you keep on driving, or do you stop and put a sign so that someone else doesn't fall in that pothole? And this is a perfect example. I didn't operate on this lady, but it says she got a breast aug, Brazilian butt lift, and a rhinoplasty. And clearly she had an outcome that wasn't ideal. And here she is after the fact, meaning the pothole's already destroyed.
She's putting up the sign.
And she's putting up the sign. So I think that speaks volumes about the humanity and the desire to constantly try to help each other. Because if something bad happens to you, you got to become an advocate to help someone else. So looking for more, Ari, thank you for that really lovely comment. And we hope more people, listen. We hope more people spread the word and share with their friends. We hope that more people write in, either whether it's through the podcast portals or through my Instagram, which is Dr. Rady Rahban, DrRady.
And it's interesting.
RAHBAN.
Sorry.
Or, and we just hope that you keep writing in questions because the reason we're doing this is to inform and educate.
Sorry that I stepped on your
No
spelling
worries.
there. But the reason I get excited because your Instagram is not only informative, it is highly entertaining. And I say that because the before and afters are like off the charts. They're so interesting. I get kind of go down the rabbit hole every time
Well, we like to make sure that you guys are educated. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll get to do another Q&A soon.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it, and I was here. Thank you for listening to Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban and his co-host, me, Monique Marvez.